Hello and welcome. I am so excited that you have had patience to wait a few minutes. We had a problem with the sound. And welcome to Connections Forum for Relationship, Expression, and Healing. And this is episode 72. The topic is today how creating beauty inside out can lead to vibrant, ageless life with our special guest, Joci James. Say hello, Joci.
Good morning, and I'm so happy to be here. So happy that we have sound. We were muted for a while. So, I think we start off with challenges and we conquer them, and it makes us feel victorious.
That's awesome. A little bit about our show. Connections Forums offers single episodes and talks and interviews regarding the most important areas in human life, such as relationship issues, personal expression, and self-development, and as well healing of these areas. The purpose of our shows is to give you inspiration and also teach you a new skill with which to handle issues which are connected to our topics. And you can watch all the replays on our website, hangoutonconnections.com. Hello, I'm Margarita Kristallotis. I'm an intuitive mentor, healer, author, creative artist, and consciousness explorer. I come from Sweden, which is my home country, and I help stress and overwhelmed professional women overcome emotional turmoil and recover their authentic self. And I do this work with online programs or at Enchantment, a private healing retreat I created here in Kingston, Ontario, and that's Canada, where I live right now. So I absolutely love seeing clients thrive and flourish when they see the gift of healing coming into their life. And my website is thecrystallotus.com. So now I want to introduce to you this amazing woman, Joci James. Because creating beauty is the innate part of her nature, she has led to have a career as a makeup artist and skincare specialist. It all started when she was a skinny, freckled-faced kid. She was drawn to making herself more beautiful. Then, as a mature woman, became a makeup artist and skincare specialist in Beverly Hills. She had the opportunity to study with some of the best European skincare specialists in the US, all the while studying self-help books and taking every course she could find on living a quality life. She began to realize that no matter what we see in the mirror and how beautiful we look on the outside, it's never enough until we see the beauty inside ourselves. So fast forward to today, she now leads courses and workshops that are called Power Search for Women, to recharge their batteries and learn innovative ways to accomplish whatever choice that freedom on the second half of our life allows. It is her passion to share some of those with other people who are facing a turning point in our life. In their life, sorry. She wants people to have an opportunity to learn the quality of their life and have a huge impact on the enjoyment. And there is a simple way to do this without taking 35 years to achieve that fulfillment. And Joci, I probably missed a lot of things here. So do you want to comment something about that?
Well, it would be hard to cover 70 plus years of I call it the remake of Joci. And by that, I mean, I started from feeling very insignificant and low self-esteem. All of those things I felt needed to be redone, but having very little tools to do them with. So to answer your question, do I want to start and add something to it? It would take a long time. So I'll just really try to reach the high spots, hopefully finding something that you can resonate with that will help you to elevate your life to your success level, the one that you feel is your life purpose. And sometimes that can be an overwhelming statement. I want to reach my life purpose. That sounds like, it has some, you're going to need some angels to help you with that. And you do have them, of course. And what I have found that is, if we find and we're able to discover our innate strengths, those strengths that we were born with, and they are actually yours to use. And sometimes I think we feel like, okay, well, no, I'm really not qualified to do that. Yes, you are. And yes, we are. So once you realize that, I call it Katie bar the door. You're able to do whatever it is you set out to do, whether it's we want to uh, accomplish going to the moon and back. It's limitless. So I'll start off with telling you more about my story on how I got to be where I am and why I have such a burning desire and a mission to help others to elevate themselves to their level of quality of life. And it is, if you can learn to live a quality life, and it's not about quantity. So oftentimes we have gotten the image and the idea that if we have more, that will be better, things will be better, we'll be happy. And that is so far from the truth. And it takes sometimes a lifetime to learn that. And what I'm about is to help you to shorten that learning curve. And so I'll just tell
I
you
ask
how.
you a question there, Joci. What made you actually be so passionate about the turning point? What happened in your life that made you actually realize that looking yourself in the mirror is not everything? It's on the inside.
Well, it took many years, and that's what I'm getting to on that is getting up to my middle years and that's the audience that I address now, is that's usually the turning point, because we oftentimes, well, all of our lives are pretty much structured. They're dedicated. You have a certain amount of dedication and responsibility that you have to accomplish and you are responsible for. And it's that time in your life when you have freedom to make a choice. And that's why I call my business About Choice Coaching. And it's all about choices. And it's learning to make the ones that are right for you. And that turning point can be, of course, I say 50, half your life usually is the time when we are looking out to choose things that we have the freedom to choose at that time. We've either raised a family or we've had a career that we've have gone maybe to retirement age, and we're looking for a way to fulfill our lives from that time on. So my mission, my time, and that I call it the golden thread that started when I was born, and born with little. We had very very little because it was 1927, and that was when the Great Depression started. And we were very poor. And there was, we had, at those times, we had food lines where people had to stand in line for food. And that was the average person. That wasn't just people that were street people. They were people that were good people and could work if they had jobs, but there was no jobs. And so I call it the not enough period. The feeling, I know we have a lot of times that same feeling when we do have plenty of material things, as in these days, but in those days it was not enough food. It was not enough to have the necessities that we needed. So that was a time when we were very deprived and hungry for filling our bodies so that we could perform. In these days, it's we have a not enough because we want more. So I that would take me through a little while to tell you about the rest of what shaped me into feeling that still not enough until I was 50 years old. And I didn't realize that it was because I didn't feel comfortable within myself. And it was an inside job that I need to work on.
Yeah, that's very important to look inside, and that's my passion too. because I work on with healing, right? So to connecting those threads inside is very powerful, and what you're sharing with your life is like a great role model. I just get goosebumps talking about that, and you know, like the connections inside. And I know you help women to actually connect those threads together inside of them so that they understand and feel, and that gives you the beauty, right?
It gives me the energy and the enthusiasm. Yes.
Mhm.
You know, the feeling like you said about being a skinny redheaded freckle faced kid, and of course the kids at school and my brother teased me unmercifully about that, which made me feel very ugly. So as a very young person, I started trying to make Josie more beautiful at the way when I looked in the mirror. I didn't have much, but I could you know, try to cover up those freckles, mainly is what I did. And I pretty much spackled my face when in doing it. But you know, it's what you it's if you keep on, you will accomplish your goal. And that's just a proof of I went my whole lifetime trying to make myself more beautiful. And then you know, fast forward 44, 45 years until I was middle age. I then was married. Of course, I'll go back. I was married for 25 years and got a divorce after the 25th year. And not knowing what the heck I was going to do, I had no college education and really nothing to that was bankable that I could go to work and choose a job. I had also felt very dumb all my life because my brother said that, you know, he tried to help me with math and I couldn't do it. He would do the problem at night and then wad the paper up, throw it away, and say, "Now do it." Well, of course, I froze, and I could then, from then on, that day on, because I didn't couldn't do math. I considered myself dumb. I labeled myself both dumb and ugly. So those two things are not. That feeling is not a very marketable product and for me to try to go out and make a living. I had ever, however, bought land and bought houses and so forth for our family. And that I went to that. And when I look back, I realized that I was weaving a thread from the very beginning. And now I call it a golden thread. But through those years, it was very, very uncomfortable. I had a lot of roadblocks and a lot of challenges, and at that time, I felt like I was piecing together a rag rug or piecing together a rag quilt, whichever way. And it was not pretty at all. It was an ugly uh, challenge for me to try to piece together. But what I picture is my vision is that rag quilt I was putting together, piercing my fingers many times, which I equate with the pain that I went through trying to accomplish. But I did go on and get my real estate license, and I did pass the test, which was I was very fearful about the math because we couldn't use a computer in those days. And so I had to take it twice, and that was very I called I would have called that a roadblock, a mistake, a really bad time in my self-esteem. And I did pass it. I did get to go, be in real estate, and but I did have an asset that I didn't realize I had, which was I'm very outgoing. So it's good with people, and that was at that time I didn't realize what a gift that was, and that served me all these years. And then I went on to that was in Texas. Then I went on to California, and then of course what I need to do was to do real estate. And then in those years, in about a 1980, the interest rate went up to 18.5%. Well, that shut down all loans, so that shut down real estate pretty much at that time. So I had to find another career. Well, what do I do? And so one of my friends at the time said, "Well, you're very good at makeup. Why don't you be a makeup artist?" Well, I was living very close to Beverly Hills, which that drew me to doing makeup there. And with that, I got a license to do skincare. And the skincare led me to a career of 30 years, which I'm still doing it to this day. And that was how I began to learn that no matter how beautiful we are on the outside, if we don't look in the mirror and feel beautiful on the inside, then you're really trying to accomplish something with half of your assets, you might say. So that's what led me to working with women. I do, however, have other courses that I help people with discovering their talents and their gifts, and I call it discovering the best of you. And I have a couple of those. One of them is called Discovering the Best of You, the 4Ds, which gives you templates and ways to take action to implement and activate your wonderful inner strengths. And then the one that backs up to that is called Discovering the Best of You, Dig Deeper. And it's just what it says. We dig way down deep and find those talents and gifts and really prove to you how unique your gifts are and how you can activate those to really accomplish, be successful in whatever way, then whatever actions you want to take to see yourself to accomplishing whatever goals that you are looking for.
Yeah. And we have some comments. Thank you for that, Joci. And Vivekananda Baido Rao. I hope I pronounce your name correctly there, Vivek. And he says, I think that looking for happiness outside is a futile exercise. Happiness, contentment has to come from within. So one has to look inside themselves for happiness. And I'm sorry, the comment tracker doesn't work today. It worked before, but now it doesn't work, so I had to read the comments. Thank you, Vivek, for that comment.
And that's true. And I think the sooner we find that for both men and women, we talk about women wanting to be really grooming and making themselves beautiful. Men have the same feelings. They just don't put on makeup or any of that, but they look in the mirror. We're all alike in that way, in that we want to look our best. We want to feel we want to feel the best we can when we present ourselves to the world, and that's important. However, us women, we tend to put more credence on that, and we tend to think that if we're beautiful or if we're pretty, and our society has made us to feel that way too. So I love Dove ads. I love the way that they have gone to the real woman and how they present those ads as these are women that are living a quality life and not depending on their beauty to help them to navigate through their life.
Wow, that's a very good point, Joci. And Vivek is commenting further here. He says, I slightly disagree with you, Joci. Education will not give you any confidence. I'm saying that from my own experience. I have a graduate engineering degree and a postgraduate qualification, but confidence, heck, hardly any. So that's a man's view, and we have actually several men watching there. I think it's only one woman here live watching, and the rest is men.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying. And yes, I agree with you that knowledge won't do it either. It's a balance. And it's really finding those inner talents and really acknowledging them that they're yours and using those to achieve, activating them. I think so many times they are dormant inside of you, and maybe you're not aware. Maybe they've shown themselves, and just like with me, that talent showed up, but I didn't realize that it was a talent that I could use, and I had to have knowledge in order for me to be able to accomplish that one goal. And that's true with everything I've done. In order to be on this call today, I had to have knowledge, but I had to back that up with that feeling of inner confidence. And I think when you take yourself out of you and realize that you have talents to share, you have gifts to share with other people, then the self-confidence comes because you have a burning desire to help other people. And I think that's within all of us, men, women, the whole world. We really want to love, and we want to be an asset, a conduit for helping other people to achieve their goals.
So Rain Dowell says about your courses, these sounds like wonderful courses that you do. And I have a question for you about that. So how do you start when you have a client or in a course? What do you start with? What is the thing that you make them becoming aware of?
Well, what I ask them to do first is take a self-assessment, and I call it the signature self-assessment. And I know most of us have had, especially if we've been in careers in corporate world where we've worked with teams, your company is most likely given you an assessment for working as a business person in your career and being able to have good teamwork. This is, I call it, yes, teams. And this is getting acquainted with the teams that you have inside you. And these teams are, you can call on them like I called on my creativity so many times to be able to accomplish. And so this assessment will reveal to you your inner strengths that, like I said, you most likely have either not known about or that you have ignored. You've just said, "Oh well, I'm not good at that." You have your own self analysis of yourself. So this identifies and indemnifies what it is. It's unique. It's as unique as your fingerprint. Your fingerprint is unique to you, and I call it a forever stamp. When you put your fingerprint on something, that's forever, and no one else has it. So it's actually your duty to use these inner talents. And then after the assessment, and they've revealed all of these inner talents, we take 4 to 5 of them. And that's why I call it the 4 Ds. We work on the template that starts out with discovery, and that's discovering and really identifying and listing those talents and values. And then we go into define, and the define is looking at those talents and seeing, looking at your next object that you want to accomplish, and okay, how can I use this talent to activate what it is I want here. And then we go into design, and that's making your blueprint, making your roadmap. And I call myself the life strengths detective because I help people make that treasure map. I call it a treasure hunt, and we go through these 4 steps and really learn to activate what the assets you have. And then you get it all together. You get it made up. Your blueprint is made. You know where you're going from start to finish, and then you can accomplish that goal and finish your project. And then you have to deliver it. So delivering it is what I call the juicy, delicious part of it, because it's almost like, and excuse us men, but it's almost delivering a baby, because you've worked all this time and it's taken you 9 months, 12 months, whatever, to get it together, and you've got this beautiful baby to deliver to the world.
It's interesting that you have this process, because it seems very easy to understand. And I had a question in my mind when you said about trying to find your talents. So what do your clients feel that their talents are?
Well, they can start out from saying, I have no talent. I've heard that quite often. And of course, that we all know that's not true. We can say it about ourselves because we have not recognized them. It's almost like somebody's knocking on your door and you don't answer. They've been trying to pull at you. And I look back and in raising my children, and a lot of times I was trying to make a meal in the kitchen and they're pulling on my skirt tail and saying, me, or maybe even crying. And I ignore them, or I, put them off and say, wait. in a minute, in a minute. And that's kind of like your talents tugging at you, that, they're crying to be let out and to be noticed.
But that's like being in a cage, like blocks all over the place, and then you're the guy, you're the woman who opens the door. I'm mentioning both Richard Wright here. He says, I'm here, I'm here. And then
That's right.
Ray Dowell says, I love these words: treasure map, treasure hunt, your unique blueprint. It's so inspiring.
Well,
And
this is, that's the part I play, and that's my talent. And it's not that I ever tell anyone what to do, or say, well, look at you, you've got talent here, talent there. I could say that until I'm blue in the face and you would not believe it. When it's revealed to you and it is there in your face, you can't ignore it. It's part of you, and it's part of your purpose. And that's part of what we started out with. Your purpose can be very elusive, and it can be uh, intimidating and overwhelming. And yet, when you see these things are yours, you have those gifts. I call it a toolbox. You have this toolbox, and you have not ever picked up maybe this screwdriver, and it's rusted. So you got to take it out and polish it. And then you look at it and say, oh, how beautiful. Look what I can do with this.
well, that's very, very important, because I think that we're born with the toolbox already. It's just that we don't know we have it. And then you're the ones, the detective, who points out where it is, so that, I mean, it must be such a joy to actually see a client opening up and really flourish. And here she comes, the detective.
I just want to show you that I can zero in with these talents and gifts, and that's why I am the life strengths detective. This is just, whoops.
What happened?
I don't know. Something came up here. I have to get it off.
Okay.
It says something about Hangouts. I really don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
Are
just
you back?
okay. It was saying me, me, me. Pay attention to me. Whatever it was. Yeah.
Well, that can happen. The distractions are so big in our life that we get distracted and we think this way, but when all this stuff comes up, it pops up like this and this and this. How do you guide people to actually keep their focus and motivate?
And that's so important, Margarita. It is, it's a matter of desire. If you got this mission, this desire to accomplish something, if you know that that child is out there waiting for you to pay attention, to either play with them or feed them, whatever it is, you're going to do that. And if you keep focused, and there's been many great people have said things about focus and commitment and staying with something. And so many of them say success is not about giving up. It's about staying with a project until you finish it. And being focused on it. You hear people like Wayne Dyer talking about writing books. He's written so many books, and a lot of writers have. How did they do it? He says that's the first thing he did every morning. He stayed with it for 3 to 4 hours every day for 12 months. And a lot of people would say, and yeah, you can look at him and say, okay, he's got the money to do that. He lives in Hawaii, in a wonderful place that is serene. You can give all of those perks that maybe other people have. But if you have that burning desire, you could have done it in a little shack somewhere, and it wouldn't have made any difference.
Mm. I know you had some quotes you wanted to read. Is this a time that you could
Well,
read?
yeah, it's about what I talk about is about wholehearted living, living your best life, living your life well. And the reason why, of course, I am so focused on that at 88 years old, I
Yay!
yes, it is a celebration. I'm looking at all of us are going to die. All of us are going to be laying on our bed thinking, okay, did I fulfill my best wishes? Did I fulfill my life purpose? Whatever those questions might be. And it could be even when you lay down at night, you're looking at, what did I accomplish today? And if you, every day you're looking at doing your best and being the greatest to serve your purpose in a way that you will not be regretful when you're dying, and you will not look back and leave that and know that that legacy was really, you did a wonderful, you were great at what you're doing. And I like to quote from Brene Brown. She's one of my favorite writers. She's been on, of course, Oprah quite a bit. And I think her last book, she may have another one, but this is the last one I know about. It's called A Wholehearted Living, and she has 10 guideposts for daring greatly. And our first one is cultivating authenticity. And that means letting go of what others think. And then cultivating self compassion, letting go of perfectionism. And I think that stops us a lot of times. We think that if we don't do it perfect, or if we always find fault with things that we do. And that was a lot of my growing up. People found fault with me, how I looked, what I did. And I thought that because of that, I was not capable of accomplishing anything. And then cultivating a resilient spirit. That means letting go of numbing and powerlessness, and cultivating gratitude and joy, which is letting go of scarcity, the not enoughs that I talked about. And then cultivating intuition and trusting faith. That just means letting go of certainty. We don't have to know before we feel grateful for what we already have, and how we can have intuition and start out on a project, not knowing the end, but knowing that we have the tools inside of us to accomplish it. And then cultivating creativity, letting go of comparisons. Don't we all do that? Well, like I just did with Wayne Dyer. Well, he lives on a Hawaiian island. Of course, he can sit on his lanao and create and write every day. Who couldn't? You know, it's not that your desk and your computer, wherever you are, is not enough. So our comparisons sometimes stop us from accomplishing. And then cultivating play and rest. I think we are a nation of workers. We overwork, we overachieve. We work 10, 12 hours a day until we're exhausted. And then we have not enough left of our energy to give to our families, or to even give to just ourselves when we get home, to relax and recharge our batteries. We don't give ourselves enough time to do that. We don't even give ourselves enough time to breathe. How many times have you breathed deeply today?
This is so inspiring.
Thing is so freeing. You can do that any time of the day. You have the freedom to do that. Let it go. Breathe deeply. And then cultivating calm and stillness. We have so much noise around us. We were not comfortable unless we have noise. We have noise in our cars. We have noise in our home. We don't have a quiet place. Most of us don't. I can't say everybody, but most of us do not create a time when we have total quietness, that we can listen to our heart, listen to what our higher spirit is telling us, guiding us, and helping us to make the right decisions and make the right choices. And then we have cultivating meaningful work, and that's what I just talked about, is helping our own creativity and our own gifts to be activated, and we can have the work we love. And as they say, if you love what you do, then you'll never work the rest of your life. And that's such a freeing statement when you know that you've made the choice. And we sometimes don't let ourselves be free enough to choose the work that we love, and thinking limitations, thinking that that work is not going to bring you the salary that you want, or the whatevers that you have thought you needed, and that may not be true. And cultivating laughter. I call myself a comedian. I love to play. I love to make jokes. I love to use that intuitive spontaneity that I was given. That's one of my birth gifts, is that I can insert laughter into a conversation, which sometimes could be dull, could be, and sometimes that's why we lose focus, is that we're trying our best to pay attention to something and you get bored with it. A little laughter inserted always brings you back to where you're trying to focus and pay attention on whatever's happening. And they say cultivate laughter, song, and movement, and letting go of always being in control, and letting go of looking cool. How many times do we think, okay, if I can just look cool, calm, and collected here, this is going to be a win. And that's true. You do need those assets, but it's not always about being the cool one or the person that's in control. I'll have to say that's one of the things that I've had to really work on, because, and that's what my family always, it seemed that we were so wanting attention that we needed to be in control, and we would interrupt each other. As a young person, I was so ashamed of that. Finally, I think I might have broken that habit of interrupting someone else, because whatever you've got to say is, that's what is considered. And if you interrupt, it's most likely because you think that what you've got to say is more important than what the person is saying that's talking. So that was one of my confessions today, is that sometimes I do interrupt, and sometimes I do want to be in control. And that's something that is, I just would like to improve, and I've worked on it. So
That's amazing. We are coming to the end of our show.
mhm.
And I want to ask you, Joci, what is your takeaway from being on this show with this technical difficulties in the beginning, where we couldn't hear you, and then we had Vivek helping us to comment on the comments, and then you were just so beautiful. So, what is your takeaway from this session?
Well, I'll just end with saying, to end that story, or talk, get to the point of the golden thread. That rug, or that quilt that I was piecing, that I felt was rags, turned into a beautiful tapestry as I look back on my life. It's a beautiful quilt that can be hung up as a tapestry, because there's golden threads running all through it. And I look back at some of those things where I had huge, big roadblocks, many challenges, many health issues, all those things that happened, the death of my first child, all those things I look back on. I, I intuitively somehow used those as stepping stones, and got through those challenges, and came through it, and had a beautiful tapestry that I could be proud of. I could deliver to the world and show people what a wonderful piece of work I had in this life, that I wove as a tapestry with a golden thread.
Wow. Thank you so very much, Joci. And I want to ask you, is there a URL or a website that people can go and connect with you?
JociJames.com. It's spelled JociJames.com. And there you'll find how you can connect with my courses and the free gifts I have, and just get to know me a little better.
Awesome. Thanks for watching Connections Forum, and we return next week at the same time. And thank you, and we'll see you next time. Okay, how do I cannot do this there? I put the photo app on there so it covers the broadcast button, but now I'm clicking the broadcast button.
I know, there's so many buttons.